Hey, Clip listeners, do you ever feel like you're juggling your script, your show prep, your questions, and monitoring your recording on the fly? I get it. I know what it's like, and that's why I'm here to tell you about Riverside's new teleprompter feature. It's built right into Riverside's platform, so you can have your show prep on screen and scroll as you record, all within the session window. No more tab switching, app juggling. It's a pain doing that on the fly, and now you're not going to have to because this teleprompter feature is game-changing. You can pause it, slow it down, speed it up, even replay, whatever you need to do to stay organized and calm during your session. I think it just makes podcasting a lot easier. And for me personally, it makes me less anxious when I'm in the middle of a recording. So if you're looking to smooth out your delivery and keep things organized while podcasting, you should check out Riverside's teleprompter feature. I think you're going to like it. And hey, you can use promo code CLIPPED, that's CLIPPED, to snag 20% off of any individual membership plan. That's CLIPPED for 20% off any individual plan, and you're going to start flowing like never before.
Explain something.
Yes, what up, potty people, and welcome back to Clipped. As always, I'm Eric, your host, and I'm bringing you podcast production tips, industry resources, podcasting insights, education, and podcast conversations with my potty pals. And my mission is to help you start, grow, and monetize your show. And today, I'm actually talking about the top 10 podcast microphones. I did an episode on this when I first started, but I wanted to replay it because I don't think a lot of you guys were listeners at that point. And so this might all be fresh information, and I've got a couple tweaks to the list. So stay tuned for that. But first, I just want to say thank you for rocking with me this entire year. This is episode 82, and so we're about a year and a half in. And I just want to thank you for the support. So if you're feeling the show, feel free to tell somebody. I'm trying to get more ratings and reviews. And if you do rate and review the podcast, I'll be looking. Don't worry, I'll be looking, and I'll give you a shout out on the show. It just helps people maybe tune in if they see the cover art and they look at the reviews and they're like, oh, this guy's great. This show's got all kinds of information and it's going to help educate and yada, yada, yada. And so I'm going to check it out because it has good reviews. So if you have 30 seconds of your day, would really appreciate that. Don't want to sound too desperate here, but I kind of am. I need more reviews. But in any case, guys, I hope your holiday season is going great. Hope you have a great Christmas, which after this drops will be in a few days. So if you're listening in real time, appreciate that and have a good holiday season. And without further ado, the top 10 podcast microphones. Let's give it a go. Okay, so one mic that I want to add to this list, and we don't need to remove anything from the previous list, but one thing that I left off, and it's only because I got one recently to test, and I've been using it a little bit, is the Samson Q2U. And that's not Samsung, like the TV brand, Samson, Samson. And the model is the Q2U. Dude, great microphone, and get the black model if you get it. The black model is sick. It's like a matte black. It looks way cooler than the other one. But this mic is also USB and XLR. I find that it has a lot of low end as well, so keep that in mind. I personally like that for that deep, resonant bass. But yeah, you can use it via USB, or if you want to, maybe try to play with a different tonality, plug it in via XLR. It's crazy. Some of these mics, and I don't know about all of them, but I think the Shure MV7 is one, and this Samson microphone, the Q2U, where they sound better plugged in via USB rather than XLR, which is kind of weird, right? You wouldn't think it would be like that, but at least to my ears, maybe on my voice. So keep that in mind. You're going to get two different sounds depending on how you plug the mic in. I mean, technically, the XLR should be like higher sonic quality, but in any case, under $100, shit, I think it's even under like $80. Comes with a little stand when you buy it. The stand sucks. Don't use the stand. Get yourself a good mic stand for either desktop or a boom arm or whatever it is. But it does come with that. It's going to come with the XLR cable. And one thing I like is that you can plug your headphones directly into it. And this is only if you're monitoring if it's plugged in via USB, the microphone itself. Plug your headphones in. That way you can monitor in real time and you're not going to get any weird latency. I also love how the mic has an on and off switch. It's got like a up arrow and a down arrow. So if you have your headphones plugged into it, you can actually adjust the level of your headphones from the microphone, which is a unique feature. I don't think I've ever seen that elsewhere. So it's just a rad mic, and it's going to be all you need. It sounds great. For the price, too. Who would have thought that these microphones that are like $70, $80 sound great? And it's a dynamic microphone, really good for podcasting for first-timers and intermediates. And pros, throw this in your bag as a backup. If you're traveling, use it as like your travel mic. Here are 10 dynamic microphones that I recommend. These are going to be a variety of XLR connected microphones and USB dynamic microphones. Go ahead and check out the show notes where there'll be links to each of these. It could be a lot to take in. Number one is actually the microphone that I'm using. This is a great mic, reasonably priced, about $100. It's a Shure SM58 microphone, and you've probably actually seen these microphones. They're all over the world on stages and theaters and concert venues everywhere. Honestly, pretty damn good sounding mic for the price. You're going to get a nice tone. It's heavy. It's durable. If someone breaks into your house, you can smack them over the head with it, and the microphone will probably still work the next day. So that's number one. It's the Shure SM58. Number two is the Shure SM7B. This is a more expensive microphone, costs about $400, and this is one of the pinnacles of broadcast and podcast microphones. Chances are you've seen this one as well. If you follow anyone on YouTube that also has a podcast where they film the show for YouTube, chances are they're using a Shure SM7B. It's got a really large diaphragm, and so you're going to get that nice bass tone. If you want to kind of like level up your sound from the Shure SM58, the Shure SM7B is a nice level up. It's an XLR microphone, so you'll need to pair this with an audio interface. Number three, the Rode Podcaster USB microphone. This thing sounds solid. It's also kind of bulky. It's a heavier and longer microphone. It's white. Approximately like $230, something like that. It's made by Rode, which is a company out of Australia that makes a lot of good audio and video equipment. It's dynamic. It's USB, so it's plug and play. With this, and actually the other two mentioned, you want to get really up close to it and talk to it to where you're almost touching it. Great option for podcasters who want a good USB microphone. Number four is kind of the quintessential podcast microphone, which is the Audio-Technica 2100X. The cool thing about this microphone is that it connects via USB and XLR. So you could just plug it straight into your computer, or you can connect via XLR. And I think the flexibility of that is great because you can get the best of both worlds, really. If maybe your home setup, you use the XLR connector, and maybe on the road or in a more simple, compact space, short for time, boom, plug it in via USB. Honestly, a lot of podcasters use this microphone, and not even as a starter mic. A lot of them use it as like their microphone for the show because it really does sound that good. It's cheap. I want to say it's about $100. Grab it on Amazon. It can even be used as like a good backup microphone. It doesn't have to be. You could use it as your main mic, but throw it in your bag, keep it on deck for everything. It's very reputable. So that is number four, the Audio-Technica 2100X USB microphone. Number five, the Heil PR40. This microphone's about $400. This is a top-of-the-line microphone for podcasting. You don't see a whole lot of people use it. It's not as popular as like Shure or Rode, but honestly, it's probably a better microphone. It's a damn good mic. So if you want a good sound and maybe want to be a little different, people see it and they're like, hey, what is that? You can tell them it's the Heil PR40, and they're going to love how you sound on it, and you're going to love how your voice sounds on it. Moving on to number six, which is the Rode Pod Mic. The Rode Pod Mic is a broadcast quality microphone, and one really cool feature about it is that it has an anti-plosive build. Plosives are the pup sounds, please don't pop your P's. Normally, you're going to need to get a pop filter, which is like a little shield that kind of goes around the microphone, and it's going to prevent the P's from popping. You could probably hear mine now. It's built in. It's got like a cool like metal casing, which prevents the plosives from happening. It's super lightweight. It handles loud and quiet sounds, and you're going to get a good broadcast tone out of this. You're going to get that nice, full, rich tone that I keep saying. $100. So that's number 6, the Rode Pod mic. Number 7 is the Electro Voice RE20. Old school radio guys tend to love these mics. This is one of the top rated microphones in the industry for broadcasting and podcasting. It has a bass roll-off switch, so if the bass in your voice is too low, you can kind of tone that down. It's tailored to bring out the rich response of your voice and kind of getting that chest voice. This microphone costs about $450, $500, depending on where you find it. This is one of the best podcast microphones out there. Number 8 is the Shure MV7. This is essentially the USB version of the Shure SM7B microphone. It's got a similar design and sound, and it's more affordable. It's about $250, similar to the Audio-Technica microphone. This mic is USB and XLR compatible. So if you're a podcaster who has various needs and maybe you record in various locations, having that flexibility is going to be huge. Number 9 is the Rode NT Mini USB microphone. This mic is dope because it kind of looks like a microphone that you'd find from like the 50s or 60s. It's got a different shape than what you would think of as like traditional microphones. This also has the built-in pop filter for reducing plosives. If you film your show as well, this is kind of like a unique microphone to have on camera. About $100, $120. And one unique thing about this microphone as well is that it has built-in signal processing. So there's a noise gate, a compressor, an RL exciter, and a big bottom processing that you can put on the microphone. And you do that via the Rode Connect application. It also swivels 360 degrees, so you can mount this on like an arm or a mic stand and get that positioning just right. I actually have one of these. I'm not using it right now, but I probably will. One of the goals I plan on doing eventually with this is adding in different microphones for different episodes. 1, because I'll have some fun with that. And 2, can kind of talk a little bit about the microphone and give you guys a feel for how it sounds. And rounding out this series at number 10 is the Rode Procaster. This thing is specifically built for speech, and so any voice that gets behind it is going to sound good. This mic does a great job at mitigating room tone and ambient noise. So if you're going to get right up on that thing, you're going to sound like you're supposed to sound for a podcast. And this mic, it's a little bit bigger than you might be comfortable with, so keep that in mind. But it's a legit microphone. You're going to find it for like $230 more or less, depending on where you go. Rounding out the list at number 10 is the Rode Procaster microphone. This thing is built specifically for speech. Really, any voice that gets behind it is going to sound good. It's a heavy mic and it's a longer mic, so keep that in mind. If you might not feel comfortable with a microphone that big and that long, going to sound pro on this thing, going to sound like you know how to podcast, and that's important. Those 10 microphones aren't in any specific order. It's just the order that I wrote them down in. Some are quote-unquote better microphones than others, but honestly, any mic on that list is going to suit you well for podcasting. You're going to get a nice tone from any one of them. Start with something simple, a little bit cheaper, and as you grow and your podcast grows, you can up your sound. Yes, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you got some insight. This was a popular episode when I aired it over a year and a half ago. So if you have any other questions about podcasting, microphones, equipment, gear, if you need help with marketing, if you've got questions, fill out the contact form over on the website, thepodcasthaven.com. Me, myself, Eric, I will get back to you. Happy to chat, happy to help you along your journey. And also check the blog. The blog is on the website, thepodcasthaven.com. So many good articles about equipment, marketing, how to grow your podcast, how to improve it, how to connect with guests, how to build community, how to implement a YouTube strategy, social media, repurposing, all kinds of information. Thanks again, guys. Enjoy your Christmas, and I will be back in the new year. I don't know if I'm going to release an episode next week. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to go hard. I've got a little bit of that gambling itch. It's kind of one of my vices. Sometimes, not all the time, but going to win some monies.